Hello, Garden Street friends and family. It is July 8th, and it is time for Wednesday Connections. Several weeks ago in Wednesday Connections, I suggested to you 5 practices that might be helpful in helping us to thrive during this time of physical distancing from one another. I want to review those with you today real quickly. First, I invited you to practice some form of mindfulness in your day. Maybe it could be as simply as breathing in deeply, and inhaling all the peace that you can, and then exhaling all the anxiety that you hold. So first of all, I talked about mindfulness. Secondly, I invited you to do some physical work. Maybe it's around the house or yard work or whatever the case might be, in order to kind of ease your stress level and to help you maybe even sleep a little bit better at night. We talked about that as well. And then thirdly, I talked about seeking the good news that is around you and asked you to look for stories of goodness coming out in people. And then the fourth practice I talked about was being playful together. Being playful, make sure you engage in play and embrace the joy and laughter that is such an important part of being fully human. And then finally, the fifth and final practice I spoke about that day to help us to thrive in the midst of this very strange time in our lives is to immerse yourself in beauty every single day. Because I truly believe when we recognize the beauty that is all around us, it lifts us out of ourselves and it opens us up to God's amazing grace that is everywhere. I'll have to say I've tried to follow these 5 practices these past weeks, hoping that they would sustain me while we are physically distanced from one another. And while I believe they are really helping, I'm still left with a deep void in the life of my ministry. I deeply miss meeting in person with you, that I call the community of Garden Street United Methodist Church. It is through our community that we have together that we benefit from that deep sense of belonging and interdependence that is so hard to create right now through a computer screen, through a camera lens, or through a telephone call. We are not hardwired to withdraw from one another, to be away from one another like we are right now. And yet, as we all know, we must, because we want to protect one another and keep each other safe and healthy. And so while following these 5 practices is helpful, it doesn't replace completely our need to be physically present to one another, our longing for deep community. I tell you this today because as I talk with many of you on the phone or through a video call, I'm hearing a recurring theme over and over again. There is a deep sense of loneliness, a longing to be in deep, authentic community. And so I just want to remind you, we are still companions on this journey of life. And this time we are in is temporary. Someday, when it is safe to do so, we will be together again in person. But in the meantime, I encourage you to bask in the warmth of human connection in whatever ways are safe to do right now. Continue to reach out to one another through phone calls, through video calls. Maybe it's even a socially distant visit where you have a mask on but you're far away from one another and able to speak to one another and see one another in person. Whatever it takes, stay connected. And I want you to remember that we are created for community, and we will someday be together again. Until then, try these 5 practices, the 5 practices of mindfulness, of physical work, of looking for the good news, of being playful and joyful and full of laughter, and of seeking the beauty, because those will help you and help you thrive during this time. But I also invite you to be open to all the possibilities of how we can nurture our longing for community during this strange time. Because as we are open to all those possibilities, we need to remember that God is with us, my friends, helping us to experience deep, authentic community in ways we haven't even yet realized. Please continue to be good to one another. And I really look forward to seeing you again really soon. I really miss you. Bye-bye.